says good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Um, it's etiquette. Number one, you should uh, meet people, greet people in a way that is befitting to them. But when I think of it and I ponder over it, you're like, man, there's no meaning behind this. Okay, good morning. Yeah, may you have a good morning. That might be part of it. But Assalamu alaikum is so powerful. It has, may Allah send peace upon you. May Allah protect you. Is a name of Allah. One of the names of Allah is As-Salam. And may Allah's mercy be on you. And um, who would want to miss out on the mercy of Allah? So when you meet someone, you're like, Assalamu alaikum. May God uh, protect you. May God keep you safe. And one of the things also is when you say Assalamu alaikum, it also means from me you will get no harm. From me, like I'm coming to you in a way that you won't get any harm from me. That's why the Prophet, peace be upon him, always told us whenever we enter the home, to keep shaitan out of the home would be by saying Assalamu alaikum. When you say Assalamu alaikum loudly, you're coming in with all the peace. So now you enter in a way that you take the name of Allah. You take the name of Allah. You give the people also something to rely upon, that you're coming with peace. That's why in Arabic there's a very powerful proverb: As-salam qabla al-kalam. As-salam qabla al-kalam. Before we speak, like many times I'm on the phone with someone or they call me and we just start speaking, and they remind me or I remind them that As-salam qabla al-kalam. As-salam means Assalamu alaikum, the greeting of Muslims before our talk. So we always say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That I come to you in a way that you won't get harm from me. And when that person says wa alaykum assalam, the wow means and. The wow in Arabic, wa, W-A, it means and. So that person is going to say it's that, and peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and his blessings be on you as well. So it's beautiful. This wasn't part of my reminder, but I think inshallah this is beneficial for all of us, especially myself, and more importantly, wherever you go, you try your best to always the Prophet ﷺ also, I think, to the nearest effect, if I remember correctly, the person who makes in a narration, Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that afshus salam, spread salam very widely, meaning keep making salam. But one of the things which I see in our masajid is after salam, everyone starts making salam with their neighbors. Now, this is not from the sunnah. This is not from the sunnah. Because this is a time where you're remembering Allah. You're supposed to make the dhikr. You're supposed to finish your masnoon. Masnoon means what? Those things which are sunnah. Those things which are prescribed and are sunnah. You're supposed to do those remembrance which the Prophet ﷺ used to do very actively, meaning he always used to do them. So, for example, you read Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Don't worry, don't get all burdened. These are words in Arabic. You can download the picture and say it in English too if you don't know the Arabic. So, but try your best to memorize something. Your mind is very powerful. Don't underestimate your mind. It is exactly what you want it to be. If you tell it you're powerful, you can memorize, you will do it. But if you say, no, it's not powerful, and I'm not strong, and we should try to take some small classes wherever possible to go and memorize these things. if possible. There's many online institutions. For example, there's this one called Studio Arabia, and there's many other small institutions where you can go and learn your basic Arabic if you don't have time to come to our masjid. But we have many programs for the new Muslims as well that can come and benefit and try to learn the Arabic language. So I highly recommend everyone try to learn Arabic. And one of the signs of one person who doesn't have pride is he always or she always makes salam first. One of the signs, the pious, they mentioned that one of the signs of a person who doesn't have arrogance, pride, and a person who wants to free themselves from these bad traits, or to remove this bad thing from this quality from their life, is by always making salam to others, by being the first, the one who starts the salam. If someone makes salam to you and you reply, okay, good. I mean, that's good. But if you make the salam and you initiate it, this is what a believer always does. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give myself and all of this, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give myself and all of us the tawfiq and ability to practice on whatever has been said. But again, that was not what I prepared and came, but fair.
It was beautiful. Thank you so much, Sheikh Mohammed. I appreciate it. So now what we do is we just open it up for questions. So if you have any questions about anything that you want to talk about, this is a great time to ask. So if you want to raise your hands, I come around with the mic and we'll go from there.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Francisco, and today's question is about. So there's this guy that I meet for Jummah, and he's learning about Islam, and I'm giving him a book to read with him, kind of like the mentorship program. But he's a new convert, and he wants to marry a Muslim woman. So when I brought up the book and how important for him it is to learn, he mentioned, "Oh, I would love for her to also study with me." And I was just wondering what would be the proper procedure because they're not married, right? And I don't know, like, should I invite them here or should I look for somebody like a sister to teach her, or should a sheikh like sit down with them and talk about marriage stuff first? I have no clue how to go about it with this situation.
So just to understand the scenario first is there's a convert
Yes.
who is planning on marrying someone who's Muslim already,
Yes.
a Muslima, and he is suggesting that both of them study together.
That's what he would like. Yes, because he's currently studying with me.
So one of the things is I would suggest that that both of them, number one, they go and consult with an imam in terms of if you can try to ask them to make some time and go and sit with the imam and see if it would make sense for them to get married, and if both of them suit each other and they're serious about one another, and if both of them have the decision making in their hands, etc., if no family is involved, etc. So number one is they should you should try to ask them to meet the imam. If they're not ready to meet an imam and they want to meet someone more casual, someone more easier, then maybe our brother Jamal, he could sit with them and just see the situation and meet with them. That would or myself or whatever, someone who can give them a little bit of advice in regards to how to go about in the future Islamically. Now again, that's one part of the whole equation. The second part is in terms of studying. They definitely need to learn more about Islam, especially someone who just converted. So sometimes it's we have in our masjid the mentorship program that, mashallah, you're working with a brother with. You would try to suggest to him that, whatever knowledge you need, I'm willing to help you in this. Because Islamically, when you're not married, it's not permissible to just meet uh, without any reasoning, without another third person with them, etc.
Yeah. What if these people are older, like they're like in their 50s and they've already like been married, divorced, things like that? We should still follow the Islamic law, right? Or how you're mentioning, like still
Oh
be
yes, it
like, oh
applies to
yeah,
everyone.
yeah, okay,
There's
okay,
there's no exception to this rule. So they should definitely try to get married as soon as possible, number one. Number two is in terms of knowledge. They could go, we have many programs in the masjid that they can attend to learn whatever knowledge they need. And it won't be permissible for them to sit and study together, um, especially when it comes to the matter of the knowledge of deen, religion. It would be not allowed.
okay. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, and to Sheikh Mohammed's point, we'd encourage, so anybody knows any new Muslims or people interested in Islam, since we have an existing program here, definitely send them this way. And then also the mentorship program. So if they feel they're ready to go, the sister, we can pair with the sister, the brother with the brother. So again, the program exists already, and we want to make sure that those that don't have access to it, they are informed by it, so they have the access, right? And I do understand sometimes people are coming from a distance, but to be very honest, I think many of us in our program, they're coming from a distance just to come here. That once a week or once every few weeks commitment. So I think it's doable. I know it's tough, but again, being that the services and programs are here and they're established, I would highly encourage you to take advantage of it if you know any other new Muslims, God willing, inshallah. Questions? The legend awaits. Sheikh Mohammed's Panchbhaya. He's waiting, inshallah. His legacy is building and building.
Hello again, Francisco here. So today I was listening to the khutbah and it was very interesting. It was about business dealings and all this stuff. Um, so one thing that the Sheikh mentioned was having to write conditions or basically put everything in contract, right? So I'm curious to know if I want to go about this, um, who do I talk to? Is there an imam that writes the contract, or is there a third party witness, any random person? How does this happen?
So there's multiple ways of doing this. So if you're from the business world, and if you're for example, running your own business, you have a trucking company, for example. Now you want to buy another truck, and you go to brother Jamal. Hey, brother Jamal, can you borrow me $300,000? I need to buy another truck. Brother Jamal is not. May Allah give you more and more in this life and in the hereafter, inshallah, and all of you, inshallah, and all of us, inshallah, with barakah, inshallah, with blessings, inshallah. So if you would go to brother Jamal and say, brother Jamal, borrow me $300,000. I have this contract that I'm gonna get from LAX airport, and I need to deliver this many loads every single day, and I really need to borrow it, please. And brother Jamal's like, yeah, okay, here, $300,000. No, that's not how the Quran explains it. And imagine from this ayah, you learn that the Quran emphasized not only knowledge of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, obviously that's on a different level, meaning learning about Sharia, learning about Sunnah, learning about tafsir of the Quran. All of that is something. But revealing these ayat in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Azza wa Jal is telling the people Quraysh of that time that you need to go and write these contracts, which is encouraging them to go learn how to write and read, and encouraging them to do all these things. So now what the encouragement in this ayah is, and in fulfilling this contract, is what he's trying to say is that it depends on what kind of a scale of money you're dealing with. Now, if it's this much involved, for example, then you would, do your due diligence from both sides and say, Brother Jamal, can we go to the lawyer and, make a letter there that Brother Jamal Zahin has borrowed Francisco $300,000 on on condition that he will pay me back in 1 year time, for example. This is one way of going about. Now, if your brother Francisco needs some coffee and he forgot his wallet and he needs $10, and he goes to Brother Jamal, Brother Jamal, can you borrow me $10? I need to go buy some coffee. So then how do you contract this? You just say, maybe, hey, Brother Jamal, I'll text you. Look, I owe you $10. I borrowed from you on this day, at this time, at this place, and I'll pay you back on this day. It's just depends on the scale of what money you're talking. Now, it depends on this. Now, for example, someone needs 2 months of rent, right? Now, they don't need to go to a lawyer and say, Brother Jamal, I'm 2 months behind on rent. Can you borrow me $3,000 or whatever the rent cost of your apartment is? And then you say, okay, I'll borrow it to you, but can we just make a small writing here? Okay, I, Jamal Zahin, gave Francisco $3,000 on this day, and both of us sign, and you bring a witness and say, can you also sign here and say, this person borrowed and he's going to pay me back in this day. This is no vagueness in there. You understand? You made a deal here that you're going to fulfill from your side. And that doesn't only apply just to the matter of borrowing. It also applies to business. For example, you go and you purchase this truck from Brother Jamal's trucking business, and you're going to pay every month $2,000 as to purchase it off. So you're going to make a contract there too. You don't just take it and say, yeah, we'll deal with it later. No. You're going to write it down. You're going to sign. You're going to do all of these things before you take that truck off that lot. So basically, you're responsible for whatever actions you're taking in front. Did I?
So yeah, so from what I understand, yeah, I have to be careful, and with big transactions, or anybody should be careful, and there should be a written contract. But now I was wondering if in this written contract there needs to be a third party, or is just a contract between one and the other person.
It depends on that person, but obviously the Quran says to bring a witness. So when you have a lawyer, the lawyer is your witness, right? So he's going to sign there. He's going to put his lawyer stamp there that I was a witness to this contract, etc., right?
Yeah. Okay. And now finally, last question. I'm interested in Sharia law. I'm interested in learning about the laws, because I was thinking earlier about what is wisdom, right? And I think that wisdom in the highest scale is laws. And I want to learn about them so I can learn how to negotiate, or not negotiate, but have guidance in my life and how to make my decisions. So how can I learn about that? Is there a book? What are the options?
So the question that I'm understanding, I'm going to rephrase it or say it in what I understood, is you want to learn about law pertaining to the religion of Islam, correct? So that's when you would go to a university and start studying so that you can pursue that path. That path is not a small path that you're going to jump on. This is a path that you would basically, it's anywhere between 7 to 12 years to learn this career. Now, if you're looking for a crash course or something to give you some insight about it, there's some crash courses where you can learn some stuff to a brief, a touch up, a little touch on it for 2 years programs. There's all these different programs out there that would help you in learning this. Now, that being said, it's not just like you pick up a book and start studying that book. It's like how when you go to university, you just don't go to university and start you're sitting in business class. You have to do first grade kindergarten all the way to grade 12, and then they'll say, okay, now we can accept you to go to university. So that's when you would go into that program and you would start going into detail and understanding it and going into detail of that. Now, that being said, again, it's not that simple and it's not that hard. It just depends. It's a long journey that you're going to take upon and start learning about it. But um in our area right now, maybe IOK has some type of course that a person can go and take to learn that. At our masjid, we recently started the Student of Knowledge class, which is which is a class for people that want to pursue a path of learning. So one of the first things you got to do is learn Arabic to go into that program. Meaning, one of the things I would suggest is you start learning Arabic first, and then after you learn Arabic, become proficient in it. Then you go a little bit into the Quran. Then after the Quran, you go into different programs, and one path will lead to another path. But the path to start with, number one, would be Arabic, to learn Arabic. You get what I'm saying? Because when the main law book would be the Quran, and if you don't know what the Quran is saying directly without a translator and all of that, you get what I'm saying? Like the start point would be the Arabic part. So you would start with learning Arabic. And like I said, there was this program that I said earlier, Studio Arabia, or there's many Arabic courses online that you can study and you can benefit from those programs.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked the Sharia law in specific is because one time I Googled it and it came out and it said, like, there's no set amount of Sharia laws. Like, I was expecting there to be like 200 Sharia laws, or for me to come across something like the U.S. Constitution, where it's already written and things like that. But it's not like that.
No, so for example, like this, right now I received a call like 15 minutes ago. Some of the youngsters, they were like, "Oh, Sheikh, is it permissible to vape?" Now, vaping didn't exist, right? Many years ago. So what would be the law regarding that? And how do you come to the conclusion of whether it's permissible or it's not permissible, or whether it's disliked and all of that? So it constantly, like now in for example, um, now they have artificial intelligence. There's going to be laws coming out every day for that. So law, even the U.S. Constitution, it'll keep updating and it'll keep getting more. It's not going to be stagnant or set rules that 200 and that's it. You get what I'm saying? It always moves on.
Thank you. That's pretty good. That answered my question. Now I understand why there's no like set number of laws, because it continues to grow, right?
Yeah.
So to your point, Sheikh Mohammed, you're saying when one wants to take Islam seriously in terms of learning it, a seminary would be a good first step to go into, and then kind of taking Arabic and moving in that direction.
So the
Or a crash
first thing
course.
would be learning Arabic,
Yeah.
and then learning how to recite the Quran, and then anything forward. And that path will come up very fast as it will lead you one into another. So first thing first is your Arabic needs to be like rock solid. How you speak English so fluent, or Spanish that fluent, same way your Arabic needs to be that fluent.
Yeah, perfect. And before we get to Sister Ronda's, just as a friendly reminder, of course, Thank you. Just as a friendly reminder, I know we have our brothers and sisters that are joining us maybe, and they're very new to Islam. So I don't want anyone to get overwhelmed. Both myself and Sheikh Mohammed understand that you can't just dive into something that might be very deep. We're taking small steps to it. But once you get to that point, I think what Sheikh Mohammed is saying, then you want to proceed to Arabic and then taking that path as well. But for those that are just coming into the faith and slowly learning within our mentorship program and the classes, this is an amazing and excellent start. And you want to start like that. And slowly you graduate to other things as well, God willing.
Thank you very much for the lecture. Why subhanahu wa ta'ala has given himself so many different names, you know?
Who?
Allah, so it's Allah,
Oh.
Al-Mutaqeen, you know, all the different names and emanations of God. Why is that?
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his name is Allah,
Yes.
God.
Yes.
But his sifat, his qualities are those names. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for example, is Mubdi, the one who started everything from the beginning. He's the one who is Kabir, the greatest. He's Azim, the most honorable. So these are his qualities and his attributes. But his name is Allah, God.
Okay.
That's why when we say La ilaha illallah, that I don't worship anyone except Allah. You get it?
Yes. Thank you.
Those are his attributes and his sifat. They call it sifat. Al-Wadud, for example, is the most loving. And he's loving without any expectation. It's a different type of love. Allah doesn't expect anything from you in return. He loves you without any expectations. You don't have to go and give money to Allah and say, you know, love me. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he loves you without any boundaries as well. He's more loving than the most kind mother. So these are just his attributes and his sifat and his qualities. And this is a person who memorizes this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will enter this person into Jannah as well.
السلام عليكم. السؤال اللي هو الشخص يسأل فيه صلوات قبل فاهم عايز يخلص الصلوات اللي يسأل فيه قبل كان تم كل صلاة يصلي معها كيفية قضاء صلاة سابقة
صلاة الفوائد.
فريضة.
So تفهم إنجليزي؟ لا. سألتني لو ما صليت يعني ظهر أو صلوات كثيرة. نعم. ماذا؟ كم صلوات؟ هو يعني يفكر ويذكر كم صلوات أنا فاتته، وبعده هو يصلي لو ما صليت منذ سنتين. فهمتوا؟ عليك أن تكتب في ورقة ما صليت من سنتين، وبعد هذا عليك أن تكتب أنا مثلا بعد المغرب صلي ثلاث ركعات للمغرب. نعم صلي مغرب آخر، وكل يوم صليت ظهر صلي 4 ركعات لصلاة قبل لصلاة القبل. نعم واكتب في ورق أو أي شيء. هذا يعني هذا فقط يعني للتعيين. والله سبحانه وتعالى هو لو أنت مات بهذا في هذه الحالة، الله سبحانه وتعالى إن شاء الله هو يرحم ويغفره، لأنه هو يتوب. نعم هو تاب من هو يعرف أنا نسيت الصلاة. فهمتوا؟ So أنا أترجم. So he was asking, how about if someone basically missed multiple years of salah? Okay, so if someone recently refound his way back to Allah, right? And or they found their way back to Allah, and now they want to repent for all the salahs that they missed out. So for example, someone also in the matter of, for example, zakah, the charity that you have to give. صدقة كمثل هذا. زكاة كمثل هذا. لو ما أعطيت للسنة الماضي، أنا أعطي في هذه السنة للماضي. فهمتوا؟ So sorry. For example, zakah, if a person forgot to pay, he didn't pay it, and he found his way, or they found their way back to Allah. Now, what do they do about the past years? So one of the true repenters, they try to fix their past. So for example, I didn't pay my zakah for the year 2018, 2019, 2020. So I will go and write it down, and I say, you know what? I didn't pay for these years. I gotta pay. I gotta take it out and pay this much. For example, $1,000 for these years I owe. Here's for those years that I owed. Now, this question that he asked was, what about salah? Because salah is 5 times a day, and there's so many. So there is a difference of opinion. Some of the scholars have said, it'll be, for example, a person missed 50 years of salah, and now he decides on repenting. What does a person do? So obviously you can't read all those 50 years salah in one day, right? What can you do? You can slowly try to get your salah back that you missed. So what you do, you make a chart and say, you know what? I will try my best to cover up this many salahs that I missed over the past this many years. And every day when a person reads Maghrib salah, he reads 3 more, so that for his past one, and he ticks it off his missed ones. You get it? So, and then if a person dies without finishing all of this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, right? He's not going to say, oh, you didn't finish your chart, so I'm going to punish you. No. Allah is Ghafoor Rahim. But you tried, and Allah looks at your try, how much you tried. It's all about the try and the effort and your commitment to Allah and your love for Allah and how much you are willing to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you're trying to please the one who created you. So this is what I understood from his question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
What happens after we die and our family dies, and say your entire family is Christian? Do you get to be with your family?
You were here a couple of weeks ago for our after our death Sunday program. Life after death? No? Okay, that was someone else. It looks very similar to you. Anyways, everyone probably here knows, right? We have Islam 101 class on every Sunday as well. So, so the question is, for example, someone, they accept Islam, right? And the rest of their family is non-Muslim. Now, you die, they die, everyone moves on. Now, what happens in the life of the hereafter is your question. So one of the things is that if you call them to Islam and they said, no, I'm good, I'm not interested, or something to that effect, or Islam came to them and we didn't even know, the message of Islam came to them and we didn't even know, and they said that, no, I'm good, I'm happy with the religion that I'm on. So in that time, on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah He will judge everyone. Um, one of the things he does not accept is that you ascribe another partner with God. So what happens to them um, uh, is they will not enter Jannah. So you won't be with them in the life of the hereafter, because the message of Islam reached them and they denied it. So that's the truth about the matter, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He can forgive any sin, any sin. You can, there's a narration that comes that a person killed 99 people and they decided they wanted to repent. And they went to one monk and he said, no, there's no repentance for you. How can you get forgiven? 99 people you killed? So this guy's like, you know what, you 100. And he killed him too. And then one more person he met, and he said, he said, yes, there is forgiveness. Go to this land and pray there, and meaning change your environment. He's told him change your environment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in short forgave him. Now, that's why, Muslims, as believers, one of the most important parts of being a Muslim is going and inviting people to Allah. That is the highest priority and top priority of every single believer. When we hear that the companions, they didn't stay in Medina, they went out. There's only, you can count the amount of graves of the companions that were in Medina, that lived in Medina. They all spread out to spread Islam. They didn't stay there. And they went and they called people to Islam. For example, Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu, who was a great scholar amongst the companions. The Prophet ﷺ said, the person who knows the most about halal and haram, meaning the permissible and impermissible, is Mu'adh bin Jabal. Prophet ﷺ in his own lifetime told him, go to Yemen and teach the people about Islam in Yemen. Before the Prophet migrated himself to Medina, he sent Mus'ab bin Umair to Medina and he said, go and teach the people about Islam. So when Allah has guided us to Islam, then one of the greatest responsibilities is yours is to go and try to bring the others to Islam as well. And Islam is a pure religion. It has nothing besides. The most important part about Islam is what? Don't worship anything besides one God, and that's it. If you believe in this much and you die, you will go into paradise. So one of the biggest responsibilities, and I'm telling you, there's not enough emphasis done in our khutbahs, in our talks, in our group gatherings, the importance of calling people towards Islam. Just the other day, I think I think almost 6 or 8 months ago, Sister Laura or Brother Abdul Wali, one of their parents, accepted, who was it? Abdul Wali's mother, right here. That was one of the most joyous moments. Why? Because he was trying to convince her to come to Islam for years and years. And finally, she accepted Islam. So the most important thing is, whoever you really love, you try to call them to Allah. And the Prophet, I'm 100% convinced that as long as you try to call with sincerity and that person has sincerity in their heart, Allah will guide them to Islam.
I think we have time for one more question. I think Sister Rhonda had a question. Oh no, she had asked. Anybody want to close it out with one last question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu rahmatullah.
Um, my question is, can we force someone to join a religion?
Can you force someone to?
Join a religion?
No.
Like to join Islam?
La ikraha fi din. There's no forcing in the religion. If someone doesn't want to become a Muslim, you can't force them to become a Muslim. And if someone, Allah forbid, wants to leave Islam, you can't. You have to try your best. You have to try your best to encourage them to stay in Islam. But there's no, you can't go to someone and hold a gun by his head and say, become Muslim. It doesn't work like that.
All right, thank you so much. That calls it a session there just because Maghrib, the prayer is going to be starting in a little bit. Shaykh Mohammad Panchbhaya, please give it up for our dear Shaykh, Shaykh Mohammad. We can do Allahu Akbar on 3. 1, 2, 3. Allahu Akbar. You guys need more caffeine and coffee in your system. Shaykh Mohammad, as always, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. A few announcements. We'll call it a session. Number one is, and again, it's always a privilege having you, Sheikh. Thank you so much for your patience with us. And thank you so much for simplifying the questions for us. And then, of course, explaining the answers there as well. Really appreciate it. Please just give me a minute. Apart from Francisco, it's perfectly fine. By the way, I guess that's my first point I would mention is sometimes if you hear some whisperings going on here, I just remind myself and you that we are blessed that in our discussions, we translate from English into Spanish. So if anybody's Spanish speaking and they prefer to listen to it in Spanish, we always have our brother Francisco. Francisco, just raise your hand for us. He's translating as best as he can because we're blessed to have a growing Latino Muslim population. So we want to make sure that we're able to translate that as well. So Francisco, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Number two, friendly reminder again from myself and you, Open Mosque Day. We're trying to do our best to remind everyone this is not this Sunday, next Sunday, Open Mosque Day. What is Open Mosque Day, in case you might be wondering? It's a day where that weekend, October 19th and October 20th, nationwide, mosques in a unified way open up their doors to invite people from different religions to come and to learn about Islam, to have delicious lunch with us, coffee and tea and so forth, and just a way for them to discuss with their Muslim neighbors. For us at this mosque, we're doing a Sunday, October 20th, which is not this Sunday, next Sunday. Registration is required, so I'm encouraging each and every one of you, please, to invite at least one person from a different religion. So I've asked this for maybe like 2 weeks now. So I'm going to check in with you guys. Those that are coming to class, how many of you have extended this invitation to at least one person? Show of hands, please. To at least one person, whether it's online or personally, etc. Okay. Very good, very good. So everyone needs to raise their hand, meaning everyone needs to do their best to invite at least one person from a different religion, please, because we all work together. We want to make sure we can do our best to invite. So again, coworkers, neighbors, family members that might be from other religions, whatever it might be, this is our opportunity to educate other people about Islam, right? And so please do your best in doing that. Again, we do request and require registration. You have to register so we know how much food to order and the logistics of the event as well, okay? And God willing. So that means please do your best. Tonight, our main Friday night session was going to be with Sheikh Mohammad Zahid. So we're going to pray. And then, of course, at 7:15, we're going to continue our session inside the multi-purpose room. So as you guys know, most Friday nights, we have a Friday family night program. So we encourage everyone to come and to have a Friday night program with us as well. And for the youth, those that are, under 25, remember we have a youth program as well for the boys and for the girls, the young men and the young women. So if you're interested in the youth program, please let us know as well. We have different classrooms for that as well, God willing. And then number three is that that's the adhan, the call to prayer. So we'll be closing soon. Sunday we have our Islam 101 class. I know we didn't have last week, but this coming Sunday we do have our class. It will be with Sheikh Mohammad Zahid. So please make sure to join us. And lastly, we're blessed. Every week we're having people join us maybe for the first time, and this is no exception today. I just wanted to personally invite or introduce our dear sister who embraced Islam just yesterday. That's our sister Angie. Angie, if you can just raise your hand, please. Angie actually took Shahada and embraced Islam yesterday. You don't have to all applaud at one time. That's okay. It'll be nice to maybe applaud or welcome. Allahu Akbar. Very good. You guys are very shy today, But I just wanted to welcome you, Sister Angie. I had the honor and privilege of meeting Angie and two friends of hers or family members that came to support her as well. So may Allah reward you. May Allah bless you. Welcome to the community. And you're with the great sisters there as well. They'll be your support there as well. And to everybody, again, please do your best to convey the message. This is a great opportunity again to do so. And then, of course, we can have about 2 or 3 people help us out in the kitchen. I would really appreciate it. So it's not just one person working for an extra hour after class or 2 people. If we can collectively work together, that'll be great. We need to put the tables away, but we keep the chairs. Again, I know it's a lot to process. The tables we need to put away on the racks. The chairs we have to keep for the Friday night program. If we can all do that collectively in a few minutes, we can be finished. And then if you want to take a plate to go home, we have a lot of extra food. Please make sure you take a plate to go home. May Allah reward you all. We see everybody in a few minutes inside the prayer hall. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.